I went from being the most lost, unfulfilled, and unhealthy I've ever been to getting in the best shape of my life, running a marathon, and completely changing the trajectory of my life all within 90 days. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why I felt the way I did, what I did to change it, and how you can reinvent yourself using the same exact protocol that I use. Now, this is going to be a fairly lengthy video, but if I'm being honest with you, if you can't sit through the entirety of this video and listen to the information I'm giving you, you're probably not ready to make a real transformation anyways. But I do promise you, if you do make it to the end, if you do watch this entire presentation, you will have all the information you need to make a lifelong transformation. So this is how I transform myself into a bulletproof marathon machine in 90 days while packing on lean muscle and 10xing my confidence. So to start off, man, I tried everything and I almost gave up. So I tried all the different diets and workout stuff. I tried your keto. I tried carnivore. I tried fasting, intermittent fasting, 24-hour fast, 48-hour fasting. I tried the low carb stuff. I was a gym bro. Thought I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder. I got into CrossFit. Your boy almost went to the CrossFit Games. I thought I wanted to be a pro CrossFit athlete. Then I got into running. Thought I wanted to be a marathon runner. Maybe I'll go to the Olympics. But the diets, they were effective. I saw results from the diets, but they were not sustainable. And the people I knew who were shredded, the people who were looking like an absolute G, they were bodybuilders and they were on a phase. They were struggling on a cut. And then after their show, after the bodybuilding show was over, they got their pictures, man. They're looking great. They're fat 1 month later. So they just lived throughout these phases where they go really hard, kill their mindset, kill their mentality, man. Feel like garbage for a cut, for the picture. And then they gain that weight right back. And no one close to me really valued their health the way I did. Like, there were people, of course, family and friends, there were people that I had around me that were getting after it. They were going to the gym a little bit, but they weren't really taking their diet serious. They weren't really trying to get to this superhuman level of experience like I was trying to get to. And I just knew there had to be a solution to get lean and feel like a beast once and for all. And I couldn't find it. So I created it after years of trial and error. So who is this for? If taking off your shirt makes you uncomfortable and you know that you're capable of more, this is for you. And if you want to be the example for your friends and your family and show them that they can look and feel like a superhero too, this is for you. And if you're succeeding in your career and achieving financial success, but you lack the confidence because you're sick of the physique you see in the mirror, this is for you. If you're aiming to develop an unbreakable mindset that allows you to bounce back on your feet when times get rough and never revert to your old shitty way of life of low energy, binge eating, and pure dissatisfaction. And if you feel overwhelmed by all the bullshit information and just want a streamlined solution that guarantees results, this is for you. Who is this not for? So if you're somebody who is looking for some easy fix or some quick hack to get lean, this isn't for you. If you're thinking you can balance your bad habits with the good ones and still achieve the life of your dreams, this is not for you. And if you're only intended to make a physical transformation, you think you'll do it without upgrading your mindset, your habits, and your discipline, you may see some results, but I assure you that you will gain the fat back and be right back to the old you. If that's the case, this definitely is not for you. And if you're not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to achieve that 2.0 version of you that you admire, and reach a level of freedom that triumphs far beyond your finances, this is not for you. Now, it took me years of trial and error to figure this out, but you need a nutrient-dense and sustainable meal plan that you enjoy eating 90% of the time. You don't need to go on a bulk. You don't need to go on a cut or track every single meal you eat like a robot. Every meal you eat doesn't have to be this fashion show with all the freaking colors. And I know that's popular nowadays to just take pictures of your food. And sure, I'm not saying you can't have that. You can absolutely have that. It's sustainable if it is a repeatable meal you have. I'm not saying your meals have to look like crap. But if every single meal you're trying to make it look different, it is going to kill your progress because it's not sustainable. It causes overwhelm. You're trying to do something different every single day. And you also need an effective training program that's going to fit within your lifestyle. And once you integrate the right processes into your lifestyle, instead of thinking of fitness as a phase, you'll never feel like you're on a diet or trying to lose weight or build muscle, because this is just your lifestyle. This is just how you operate now. Once you fully adopt this lifestyle, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's autopilot. And I had to create a completely different character. The old me had to die. But look, it doesn't have to take you as long as it did for me. You don't have to go through years of testing different methods or live in this cycle of self-sabotage. You don't have to live like a bodybuilder and only be in shape for a picture a couple of times a year. And you don't have to walk the path alone like I did for so long. There's another version of you experiencing the life of your dreams, and what you think about every single day, but these limiting beliefs hold you back from achieving. There is another version of you somewhere in the universe that is experiencing that life that you dream of. And if you want to experience this life for yourself, I'll show you exactly how to train with intention, how I built muscle and got shredded while running and never being hungry, how I killed my soft mentality and built an indestructible body and mind, how to be dangerously effective with your time and still achieve fantastic results. In case you don't know me, here's a quick backstory. So I've been an athlete my entire life. Ever since a young kid, you could catch me outside playing football, kickball, basketball, anything I could do to stay moving around. I've always loved fitness. I've always loved sports. Played football throughout high school and some of college. Also wrestled in high school too. And when I got to college, like I said, I was playing a little bit of college football. I eventually would quit football because I joined this fraternity. And I loved my guys. I loved my brotherhood. But man, I started getting to some weird stuff. Your boy could always be caught with a drink in his hand, doing some stuff he shouldn't be doing, blacking out a few times a week. Really just lost focus. Chasing girls, made girls my priority. And I ended up quitting football. Started to go down a spiral there. And I'm not going to go too much into this, why I quit football. But when I quit football, it put a dent in my self-image. And I'm going to talk about self-image at the end of this video or towards the end of this video and how important it is and how you could change your self-image. But this was a big factor in what started me on a really dark path, you could say. But eventually I did graduate. Believe it or not, I graduated. Your boy graduated. I have a college degree and I got into sales, making $8,000 to $10,000 a month. You know, I thought this was a pinnacle. Bought my dream car, man, doing your corporate sales stuff. Like I thought this was it. You know, I started losing focus on like what gave me my value. And what gave me my value was always being physically fit and physically strong and powerful. So when I started focusing on making money instead of my body and stopped making my body a priority, I lost myself. But I did get into some CrossFit along the way, ran some marathons, did a couple of high rocks competitions. But now that you got the general idea of who I am, the Victor's Arc Protocol is the system that I built through my own trial and error while trying to figure out the best way to build and maintain a lean, athletic body without falling back into my old ways of binge eating, low energy, overthinking, and low confidence. Now I've decided to break down this entire system for you for free. In the following steps, I'm going to outline the entire step-by-step process of what I did to accomplish these results so you can just copy and paste the Victor's Art Protocol into your life and build an incredible athletic physique and 10x your confidence. In a gist, becoming an ultra high performer, you need to reprogram the mind. You need to simplify your fuel source for maximum performance. You need high return on investment training and lifestyle design. So I had to kill the loser inside of me. I had to kill my weak mind. I got addicted to instant gratification. As you can see here, the crumble cookies. Man, I got to where I was eating crumble cookies multiple times a week, and I tried to justify this inside of my mind that it was okay that I was eating that, like it was my cheat meal. But every time I would go and get these cookies, it would always make me crave more. And as far as getting drunk, you know, getting absolutely toasted, you know, I would get that instant gratification. I felt good for the day. Things like smoking weed. I was never big into smoking weed, but at this difficult time where I was really down bad, anything that would give me just a sense of just like joy or temporary relief from the stuff I was really dealing with, I would lean into it. And I would do this thing where I would mentally masturbate. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically where you watch these motivational videos online and all the Alex Ramosi, the Luke Belmar, the Tony Robbins, all these people who I saw as like leaders to me. David Goggins is a big one, which David Goggins had a huge impact on my transformation. But I got to where I would watch these people, these idols videos, or I would listen to these podcasts and get motivated, and it would make me feel good. Like I would listen to this stuff just to get a feel good flow, and then I'd do the same exact stuff. So I had to stop mentally masturbating, and I cycle between over optimization and full out shit spiral. A shit spiral is when you mess up in one area, like maybe you miss a meal that day, or you were supposed to have a good clean day and maybe you didn't get to, I don't know, maybe you forgot to prep your green beans. I don't know, I don't even like green beans, but you forgot to prep your green beans, and all of a sudden you have to substitute french fries instead. And since you had that one little bad aspect, since I had that one bad aspect of my meal, I said, all right, well, the whole day's over. Screw it. Whole day's ruined. So I guess I should go get more crumble cookies, eat some honey buns tonight. but I had to unwire the all or nothing mindset. Because if I missed in one area, my whole day collapsed. All the work I was supposed to be doing wouldn't get done. Because once I had lost one time, I thought the whole day was ruined. And if it was like a Thursday, or maybe it was a Friday when I messed up here and I fell off track, I'd be like, well, the whole week's ruined. So now for the next 3 days, I'm gonna eat out every single day, have cookies, and be a freaking loser every day. Because that's what you do when you have this all or nothing mindset. And my loser, quitter self-image that started when I quit football in college, even though I had a halfway justified reason, I still saw myself as a quitter. So this poor self-image I had of a loser and a quitter led to self-sabotage, and I could never get any momentum. So I had to reprogram my mind. That started with taking massive action. So for me, that was 90 days of 5Ks. Leading up to the 90 days of 5Ks, I started this at the beginning of January of 2024. But towards the end of 2023, I was already running, every once in a while I'd run like 1 or 2 miles a day, once or twice a week. I was kind of tiptoeing around, maybe getting to this stuff, because really I hated it. Like, I hated freaking running, and it was cold as crap. As you can see, this is a screenshot from one of my Snapchats I was putting on my story at the time, and it was 30 degrees. The two things I hated more was cold and running. So I did both of those things at the same time. I started running at the coldest point of the year. It was freaking snot was freezing on my nose, and I got to where I was running a 5K every single day, and I did this for 90 days. There's something called Hebb's Law, which is basically this phenomenon within the neuroscience space, and it states that neurons that fire together, wired together. And in neuroplasticity, if you don't know what that is, maybe you do, but if you don't know what that is, it's basically your brain's ability to be unwired and rewired. Like the person you've been your entire life, your thought processes, the habits you've built, they're not permanent. The things you think about, the person you are, like your very ideas and the way you operate can be unwired. Your brain can be reformed. And if neurons that fire together, wire together, taking massive action is the best, fastest way to completely reinvent yourself, because I would do this thing where I would tiptoe around change. I'd make this little small adjustment, and I'd always revert back, because if I have, let's just say I have 10 habits, I have 10 things that are causing my downfall. If I only change one at a time, the vast majority of these things, I'm still doing the bad eating. I go get my workouts every single week, but I still eat bad. I still go out to party. I'm still drinking. I'm still trying to sleep with girls every single weekend. I'm still doing all this stuff. I only changed one aspect. I was always going to revert back to the old me. So by taking massive action, I eliminated everything in one go. Stopped going out. Stopped drinking. Didn't do anything for 90 days. All I thought about was my goals and who I wanted to become. That's all I did. And the change was so drastic. All the habits I had burnt off. I had to burn them off, because tiptoeing, I tried the tiptoeing for years and it did not work. Taking massive action is probably the most important thing about this entire process, because if you just try to tiptoe around it, you're not going to make that change. And I had to dial in my morning process. And for me, this involved getting up early, doing that run that I hated, being out in the cold. I would take in some positive information. So I'm listening to these people that motivate me while I'm on my runs. And the runs still sucked, but I was doubling up my positive motivation. So I wasn't listening to music in the morning. I wasn't listening to any of this negative drama in the morning. I'm only listening to things that influence my mindset. They're going to reinforce the goals that I have. I'm taking in new information daily. I started reading for 30 minutes every day. Something in the self-improvement space. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins was a huge one. A huge factor in changing me. And honestly, reading that book, Can't Hurt Me, is what made me want to run a marathon, because I got really invested in the mindset and like what the mind and body is capable of. I wrote down exactly what I wanted out of life and what I didn't want. So I had the goal I was aiming towards, and I had the big angry tiger behind me chasing me. So I had what I wanted to be and I had what I didn't want to be, and I put that on paper. I started planning out every step of my day the night before, so I stopped losing track of my day. I stopped letting the day just whip me around, because I had a plan for every second, every minute. And I lived in these day-tight compartments, which is basically you're not allowed to dwell on the past or the future. So in a 24-hour window, you're not allowed to look too far ahead past the day, and you can't try to change anything that happened yesterday, because it's not within this 24-hour window. So live in these day-tight compartments. Mastering the fuel source. So 90% of the time, your meals need to be simple and repeatable, and 10% of the time, they can be whatever you want them to be. So When I mean repeatable, I mean like it can look delicious. Now you see some of my meals here. I like chicken and rice. I like beef with some salsa and vegetables. But your meals need to be something that you can prep for multiple days at a time, and you can eat like you actually enjoy them. I enjoy my chicken and rice. I enjoy beef and broccoli and mixed vegetables. I enjoy these things. So it wasn't hard for me to eat this type of stuff. But you have to find meals, 2 to 3 meals that you actually enjoy eating. 90% of the time, then 10% of the time, eat whatever, bro. Eat something different. I don't know. Whatever is on your desire. I eliminated the ultra processed foods, like a lot of these protein bars that you think are super healthy. They're very small. They don't fill you up. So yeah, it may give you a little bit of protein. I'm not against protein bars, but if you eat this little protein bar and it doesn't actually satisfy your hunger craving, you might have got your protein in, but if you're trying to lose weight and you're still hungry, what does that lead to? You're going to be looking for more food, and ultimately you're going to be eating way too many calories. Eating on the go, ready to eat meals. So I worked in a job where I was in sales. I was driving around a lot. I was traveling quite a bit. So I had to have meals that were easily available. I could eat while they were cold or sometimes hot, but most of the time they were cold, like stuff like wraps. I would go to your local grocery stores, and a lot of times these grocery stores have like rotisserie chickens that are like just baked chicken, and you have these cold shrimp inside of a little plastic container, or crab legs, like things that are cold that you can eat. But my favorite by far was tuna. I love tuna salad. So I'd eat tuna sandwiches, chicken wraps, buffalo chicken wraps, cold foods. There was never any excuse for why I couldn't eat when I was on the go. And then when I did go out to eat, I'd always try to pick single ingredient food options like a steak or chicken. But the last thing you want to do is go to a restaurant and get this big mush bowl of like pasta that has all these different added ingredients. You have no idea what's in that. Like the sauce alone could be freaking 500,000 calories. Who knows? Because there's so many ingredients in it. So when you go out to eat, pick something that has a few ingredients or just one ingredient. And then you got to eliminate friction. So this is more so around the lifestyle thing. But anything that doesn't support your goals, like when you open up your fridge, it should be set up for success. Like if you have a hard time saying no to sweet tea and chocolate milk, don't put it in your fridge. When you go to the grocery store, like why would you set yourself up for failure? Like why would you even put that temptation in front of your face? If you know you have this goal, don't buy the chocolate milk. Don't buy the sweet tea. Keep it out of the refrigerator. When you open up your pantry, you should make it easy to choose a healthy option, because you shouldn't have ho-hos and honey buns and freaking candy and bags of chips in your pantry. Like make it easy to succeed. You don't need to be putting all this stuff in your pantry and your refrigerator that isn't going to support your goals. But at the same time, when you aren't putting these things in there, you need to remove them, but replace them with something else. So if you like ice cream and eating the fake ice cream or the ice cream that's supposed to be healthy, if that's going to trigger you to eating more real ice cream or craving the real thing or craving more sweet stuff, don't even have the fake ice cream. Don't have the healthy ice cream if it's going to trigger you into having something else that you don't need. But if you can find a replacement for these foods you love, like if you enjoy candy bars, protein bars, if that's going to satisfy your sweet craving, even though it may not fill you up, it's 10 times better than having a freaking candy bar. So remove something and replace it with something else if you can. If not, then eliminate it altogether, and don't even torture yourself with this type of temptation. And to this day, I don't track my meals every single day because I know what I'm eating. Now, I spent years tracking macros, so now I can pretty much look at a meal on a plate and I know what's in the food. But if you don't want to track your macros every single day, and every time you switch your meals up, just eat the same stuff most of the time. If 90% of the time you're eating a meal that you've eaten before and you've tracked it in the past, you don't have to track it again today. Like 10 grams of rice, a cup of rice will always be a cup of rice, and it'll always have the same macros. 8 ounces of chicken will always be 65 grams of protein or 63 grams of protein, no matter if you cook it today or next year. If you eat these same meals, you don't have to think about it. It's just natural because you've eaten the same exact meals. And then when the day when you want to switch something up, maybe you want to try a new meal combination, go for it. And then maybe you have to track it that one time. But once it's been tracked and you know what's in the food, you don't have to keep tracking it. And that's what's so great about having repeatable meals that you eat consistently. Third, you need to have high return on investment training. So you just need 3 to 5 fully recovered gym sessions. You don't need 6 to 7 half-ass sore sessions. And I found this out because I used to spend a ton of time in the gym working out for hours, thinking I was doing good, but really I was just working out sore muscles and not being able to push myself as hard as I possibly can. So I went back to 3 to 5 fully recovered sessions, which was hard. which was hard because I did actually enjoy being in the gym, even though I was killing my progress without knowing it. I implemented a system of running. Now, I told you that I started off doing 90 days of 5Ks. After the 90 days were over, I continued to run because I realized that by running, I could burn so many calories that I didn't even have to worry about my activity for the rest of the day. Like if I could run 5 miles in the morning, not saying you need to, but since I would run 5 miles in the morning. I didn't have to worry about getting steps in because I've already burnt like 600 or 700 calories. The same time that it would take somebody to burn, get 10,000 steps across the day, an entire day, I could do that first thing in the morning, 40, 45 minutes. I already got my entire 10,000 steps. And then on the days where on the days when I'm not running, the days that I decide not to run, I do get my 10,000 steps. But you want to get your steps in a way that just feels normal to you. Like park at the back of the parking lot. Make your walks to work if you can. Whatever you can do to increase your steps. Even if you're eating after a meal, go for a 10-minute walk. Get some natural movement in. And then when you're in the gym, like I said, if you're only doing 3 to 5 workouts, you want to be focused on progressive overload, which basically means you need to be pushing yourself one step further. Grab a slightly heavier weight. Push yourself for one more rep. Continuously try to increase the intensity with every single workout. This is how you'll maximize your training. And then I started implementing a mobility routine. So I started understanding recovery and sleep. I supplemented with things like magnesium and tart cherries at night. Cherries make your body naturally produce melatonin, which helps you sleep and makes you sleepy. So the cherries help with that. But I started really thinking about sleep as like a vital source, a vital aspect of my training. It was no longer just the thing I did at the end of the day. It was like, this is like, if I can maximize my sleep and get a great night's sleep, I'll be able to train harder tomorrow. Our bodies literally recover while we sleep. So if you're not sleeping, you're not building muscle. When you're in the gym breaking your muscles down, that's not when they're growing. It's when you sleep, your body's absorbing protein, your body is repairing all the tears you've done throughout your workout. And when it comes to training on the go, because like I said, I would travel sometimes, there's no excuse to not do something. Like I said earlier, I had this thing where like if one aspect would go wrong, my whole day would be ruined and I'd go into this shit spiral. So if I was traveling and I didn't have a gym, I'd be like, oh, well, I don't have a gym. I guess I'll go eat whatever I want to today, go eat some pizza or something. But not having a gym is not an excuse. So I started changing the way I saw this stuff. So if I didn't have a gym, cool. Push-ups, pull-ups. If I had some small apartment gym or some small hotel gym, I would go to the gym and I would do something. Like there's something I could do. Or I would go for a run because I was now running. Like there's always something I could do. I wouldn't be so over-optimized where I thought if I didn't have every piece of equipment I possibly needed, I couldn't at least do something. Next, you need to curate an environment that demands success. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around, or if you aren't hanging around anybody, it's the people you listen to most. So everybody I hung out with was always focused on fitness now. Like if you aren't trying to get jacked, I don't want to be around. If you ain't trying to run, if you ain't trying to conquer your inner bitch, if you're not trying to become the best version of yourself, I don't want to talk to you because you're not going to make me any better today. You need to be around people who want to see you grow. If you're hanging around a bunch of fat people and they're ordering pizza, most likely you'll be ordering pizza in no time. So like if everybody around, if there's a group of 5 people and 2 of those people aren't doing what they need to be doing, but the 3 people are out there going for runs, they're getting to the gym, they're eating good, clean, healthy food, and they're starting to improve themselves, those other 2 people who aren't performing, either they're going to feel so uncomfortable that they hop on your wave and they start trying to improve themselves too, or they'll remove themselves from the group. So be around people who want to see you succeed and the people who want to succeed themselves. And honestly, you're going to have to create distance between anybody who's not on the same path as you are, unless they're willing to change. And one of the people I listened to was Nick Bare. It has a big impact on me because he was the very example of proving that you can run and you can lift and still be jacked and still run fast. So I started listening to a lot of his content, a lot of his podcasts, and that helped me on my journey as well. So I hung around people who were jacked, and everybody I listened to had the same goals I had of being jacked, running fast, and becoming a freaking beast. And when it comes to planning and traveling, I've already touched on this, but you need to plan ahead of time. Like if you know you're going to be out of town, just Google Maps, bro. Go on the maps. See if there's a gym around you. See if you're going to have access to some type of equipment. If not, then go ahead and put in your mind, okay, I'm not going to have my equipment, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to bike.
I don't know, I'm going to make sure I get all my steps in, maybe some extra since I can't work out. You're going to do something ahead of time. And as far as your restaurants go, I would plan for the uncertainty when eating out. Like when you're going out somewhere and you're going to have lunch or dinner, and you're not going to know exactly what's in the food. Because even the clean food, the single ingredient food, like your steaks and stuff, they could be soaked in butter, all types of different oils. You don't know. So the best way to go about that is by planning for it. Skip breakfast. Take out your carbs, reduce your calories earlier in the day to make up for what you know you're going to accidentally take in or unknowingly take in later in the day. So I've always been pretty active on social media, but when I started to make real progress, I'd always share it, because once you start sharing the process, once you start showing people, once you start talking about it to people, if you do get out of shape, if you do lose track, you do get out of shape, you do fall off, everybody's going to know. But you will never get jacked. I know it says will, but you will never get jacked. And if you do, you won't stay jacked. And you'll never become a man that oozes with confidence if you do not adopt a new self-image. So this is a quote from Maxwell Maltz out of the book Psycho-Cybernetics, one of my favorite books. But it says, "The man who conceives himself to be a failure type person will find some way to fail in spite of his good intentions or his willpower. Even if the opportunity is literally dumped in his lap, the person who conceives himself to be a victim of injustice, one who was meant to suffer, will invariably find circumstance to verify his opinions." So if you believe you're worthy of this life, you believe you should be living this life, you are super confident, you are in phenomenal shape, and you are able to get out and run marathons because your brain is unbreakable. If you do truly believe this, you're going to find evidence. You're going to find supporting stuff from the outside world that supports this claim. But if you feel like it's not possible for you, you're always going to find something that re-supports that. This is similar to business. Like if you identify in your mind as somebody who is a successful business person, or you are a successful entrepreneur, you do great at your job, you're going to find evidence that supports that. But if you think you're this victim and you think, oh, woe is me and I just can't win, yeah, you're not going to win. So you literally are what you believe you are. So if you can adopt this self-image of the person you want to be and hold it inside of your mind, you will find evidence that supports that you are capable and you are worthy of living that life that you want. And it doesn't have to take you years to get there. I thought making money would make me feel complete, and it didn't. I made the money. Like I thought this was the pinnacle. I thought if I just made enough money, I'd be happy. I'd be proud of the person I am. And I realized it would take a complete transformation of my lifestyle to maintain the results. I couldn't just tiptoe around what I wanted. I couldn't just touch on a different life. I had to fully dive into who I wanted to be. And I refused to accept that some people could walk around lean and others just didn't have good genetics. And I made progress alone, but my circle is what really took me to the next level. Like I made progress my entire life. I'd always fall back, but it wasn't until I started giving my clients great results. When I started over 2 years ago in the online coaching space, when I would see my clients upgrade, when I see them improve themselves, it would give me even more fire to improve myself, and it would reaffirm inside of my mind that one, I know what I'm talking about, and two, that I can also achieve it because they are achieving it. I went through years of trial and error before I created the Victor's Arc protocol. So now that you understand exactly how this process works, I have an offer for you. If you are tired of making short-term progress and then reverting back to your old ways, if you feel overwhelmed by all the bullshit information, you just want a streamlined solution that guarantees results, if you are sick of not looking in the mirror and being admired by the person you see, and you want to make a lifelong transformation, none of this temporary phase where you look good for a little bit and always go back. If you want to make a lifelong transformation, this is for you. And if you are ready to finally get a six-pack and create a lifestyle that grants you the highest level of energy, and enjoyment, and confidence, there's going to be a link in the description of this video. You can actually book a call with me one-on-one. We can talk about, where you are, who you want to be, and I can give you a roadmap to get to that person right there on that call.
Either way, I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. I hope you were able to extract a ton of value from this video that you can apply to your life starting today to make a lifelong transformation. Now, if you are serious about making a change, you want the roadmap on how to get from where you are now to where you want to be using the Victor's Arc protocol, once again, look in the description of this video. You'll find a link where you can book a call with me one-on-one, and I'll give you the entire system from point A to point Z and how we can apply specifically to you. Thanks for watching. Until next time.